Hello. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. My name is Amit Pundir. I'm a software engineer in Linaro. My primary role in Linaro is AOSP bring up and maintenance of Linaro development boards in AOSP. In this session, we will talk about a new community initiative by Linaro called devboards for Android. We introduced this project at LPC Android Micro Conference last year. And since this is the first time we are talking about this project at a Linaro Connect event, I will start with some background and reasoning behind this project. So it started with the age-old question of which device or development board should I use for my next project. It could be a hobby project or a proof of concept that you are exploring at work or at school. And I'm sure all of you here must have answered or asked this question at some point. Choosing a device for an embedded Android is no different, and we get asked around this question a lot about Android and AOSP development boards. And there is no correct answer to that question. Yes, at times we do get biased towards the devices that we support or we care about. But the truth is that in embedded systems, one size doesn't fit all. One can choose a device on a number of factors, which varies from project to project, from project requirements, technical requirements, the project budget, and to vendor and community support. So it was at ELC last year when this question came up after one of our sessions, and that got us thinking that we do get to know about these new SBCs online, but we rarely get to explore the support level that vendors provide on these devices. Do they get Android updates? Do they get kernel updates? Or what about the documentation and vendor support? And if they do provide long-term support, like Linaro and few other vendors do, is it possible for all of us to work together and engage on common problems? Common problems like generic software solutions based on upstream kernel interfaces, which normally do not require any secret vendor source to work with. So that planted the idea of this project, a project which enables a community workspace for system developers to get AOSP working on their respective devices. And in the context of this slide, in the list which I have provided here, we may not be able to help you with your project requirements, or sorry, we may not be able to help you with the project requirements or tell you whether AOSP is the right fit for your project or not, but we may be able to help you figure out the support expectations which you have from a specific device which is listed on this project, whether the community behind it or the vendor behind it is going to support your device in the long run. Our members were also excited about this project, and so we worked on it and presented at ELC last year. And we got a reasonably positive feedback from the AOSP developers, board maintainers, and the overall community. So introducing the project devboards for Android. As I mentioned in my earlier slides, the reasoning behind this project is to enable a community workspace for the system developers around the AOSP development devices. A place for consolidation of resources like software, binary blobs, documentations, recovery tools, for the devices that are known to work reliably on AOSP. It can also act as a staging area for the devices under development. The key features of this project include upstream AOSP style source code navigation and Gerrit-based review. This will also help new developers get familiar with the AOSP style of working and encourage them to contribute. The other key feature is the link to the device resources, like the software source, your kernel source, your binary blobs, documentations, which are being made available for all the supported devices, with one or more active community member being assigned as the owner or maintainer of that particular device. So the goal of this project is that we believe that this initiative will be instrumental in co-sharing and co-developing generic software solutions across multiple devices. And it would be very beneficial for the entire ecosystem. And possibly at some point, enable CI and LKFT style of testing using Lava. We don't have a mailing list yet, and at this point, we use AOSP developers IRC channel for communication and brainstorming. So some project updates since LPC 23. These are the devices currently being supported on the project. All these devices are already upstream, so no surprises there. We are glad that Bay Libre joined this initiative and added support for their Win3 platform. And when we say that the device is being supported on this project, that doesn't necessarily mean that we are hosting the source code or binary blobs or any kind of document, any kind of source-related information for them. Not just us or any other Linaro-affiliated project portal. It means that the corresponding device page will host all the information that you need to get started with that device. For example, links to download binaries or source code with build instructions and documentation, etc. Think of this project, if you are familiar with a similar GitHub page with which John Stultz put up a few years ago. So think of this project as an extension, as a natural progression of that wiki page, that GitHub page. But in some cases, yes, we are open to host the source code as well. Now some updates. To begin with, we have added Hikey 960 as a reference build target to look at. The device itself is still supported upstream on best effort basis. And though no new development activity has been planned around it, it may go end of life sometime soon. But we do plan to continue supporting that device through this devboards for Android portal as far as we can. We do use this workspace as a staging area for development devices. We already did that with the new device which we pushed upstream SM8550 HDK. All the development activity, all the patches we pushed through this Garrett first for the review before it landed upstream. We also intended to use this staging area to add support for devices that may or may not land upstream. For example, E85096 devboard, it's an Exynos 850 device, which is a probable upstream candidate. AOSP support for this board is a work in progress. We also intend to revive Pixel 3 as a AOSP development device to work on common generic HALs intended for handheld or form factor devices. For a very long time, we had only devboards, and we did experiment with Poco F1 at some point. So we want to continue doing that experiment with Pixel 3 now to have a more fully functional phone form factor so that we can develop or co-develop generic HALs which are based on upstream kernel interfaces, like sensors or radio interface layer, for example, to begin with. We have not started with it yet. It is still in the works. Hopefully, in some weeks' time, maybe we'll have something to show up. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we are open to host source code for certain repositories as well, certain projects as well. We already use it as a staging area for few upstream folks, while the changes or the patches are already discussed, are already under discussion upstream. One example is the U-boot fork, which we have been carrying. I've been told that there is no need for the fork now because the device and all the patches are already upstream. Other than that, we do host all the development tools on the project Git repo as well, be it the local manifest file or the vendor package, which you need to host publicly available binaries, and the website source code too. Here is the snapshot from the GitHub, the Gerrit repo. These are the list of projects that we support right now. And yeah, let's work together to improve the community around AOSP boards. And if you're interested in participating in this project, join us at this IRC channel. Thank you. If you have any questions around this, yes, please. There is a switch, I think, somewhere. This one. No?
Hello. So my question is regarding the RB3, RB5's Qualcomm board. Like, for example, I'm from the audio software team from Qualcomm. Like with respect to audio, how is that something put together by Ninaro?
So it's a long story. We started with Goldfish HAL. So RB3 and RB5 are fully upstream devices, and the HALs which we use are sort of in line with the upstream interface. Okay, so we started with the ALSA HAL, which Goldfish started a few years ago. That worked for us because at that time we were only interested in audio out through HDMI, and that was working pretty fine. Then over the certain updates, Android updates, we realized that there was some issues with the HAL which we are currently using. And we asked around, and we have been told by the Bay Libre guys that they also have a HAL which is based on upstream ALSA interface. And we tried that, and that worked fine for us. So right now we are using that HAL, but we have been told that the cuttlefish has gone back to using Goldfish HAL, I think last year. So we have not tried whether the Goldfish HAL is still good enough for our use case. But whatever we have right now, which is based on upstream ALSA interface, is working pretty fine for us. And our use case is only audio out. We don't do audio in as of now.
We have a lot more features than, like we actually, for the the internal product, we actually have a lot more feature enabled. So for the purpose of this project, is it just more of enabling basic features, make sure that works, or do we want to expand into supporting more feature-rich configurations?
No, I think, as I told you, right, that our basic necessity right now is audio out. And if your HAL is based on upstream ALSA interface, so that will do for us. I'm not sure about the licensing part or any binary blobs that we need to carry, and can we redistribute those binary blobs as part of our builds?
Also, I want to highlight this. Amit started by saying this. This is a community project. So if you're interested, by all means, propose it, and we can together view it as a community and see if it makes sense to keep it here, or even try to upstream to ASP. We are happy to help, but we are providing the space for people to collaborate. Another thing that Amit mentioned was about Pixel 3. So that's an initiative which is also a community-driven initiative. We have a couple of college grads that were very interested. And so we thought we'll see if they can use it for enhancing their knowledge, but also contribute something back to the to ASP and Common HALs in general. So it's not a Linaro-driven thing. It's a community-driven thing, the Pixel 3 stuff as well.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Yeah. I did not think about that link that it may come back to Leonardo. Yeah. Yeah, I think we are done here. Thank you very much for coming.